Reports are spreading about $2,000 tariff refund checks tied to a new Trump economic plan, and people are asking one big question right now: are Americans about to get another major payment? Because this is not a normal stimulus check, this is not Social Security, and this is not coming from Congress in the usual way. This idea is coming from tariff money, money collected from foreign imports, and it could be sent back to American households. Now, before you get too excited, there are a lot of details you need to understand. Some people could benefit, others might see prices rise, and the political fight behind this plan is already intense. But here's the part that's shocking. Some advisors close to Trump are floating a $2,000 refund per household, calling it a tariff dividend for Americans. If that happens, it could change your finances in 2026 and beyond. And this is not just about free money. This could affect Social Security, taxes, inflation, and even your grocery bill. So stay with me, because what happens next will surprise you. Now, let's slow this down and explain what this plan actually is, because tariffs sound confusing, and a lot of people are misunderstanding what's really being proposed. First, what is a tariff? A tariff is basically a tax on foreign goods coming into the United States. When another country sells products to the US, the government charges extra money on those imports. That money goes straight to the US Treasury. Trump used tariffs heavily during his previous presidency. He called them a tool to protect American factories and workers. Now, according to several policy advisors and early economic drafts, he wants to expand tariffs on a massive scale if he returns to the White House. We're talking about broad tariffs on imports from China, Europe, and other major trading partners. Some proposals mention tariffs of 10% across the board, with even higher rates on certain countries. So where does the $2,000 refund idea come in? Here's what insiders are discussing. The government would collect billions, possibly hundreds of billions, in tariff revenue. Instead of letting all that money sit in federal programs, a portion could be sent back directly to Americans as a refund or dividend. Think of it like a national rebate. You pay higher prices on imported goods, the government collects the tariff money, and then some of that money is returned to households as a check. One economic memo circulating among conservative policy groups suggested an average refund of around $2,000 per household per year. That number is not final, it's a talking point, but it's the number getting attention. And here's why this is even being discussed. Trump allies say tariffs bring in revenue without raising income taxes. They argue that foreign companies and countries are paying, not Americans. Then, by refunding part of that money, the government can claim it is directly supporting American families. Now here's the truth. Most headlines are not telling you. Tariffs are not free money. When tariffs go up, companies often pass those costs on to you. Prices on electronics, clothing, cars, and groceries can rise. So even if you get a refund check, you might be paying more at the store. That's the hidden trade-off. But politically, this idea is powerful. Imagine a headline that says, "Tariff dividend check sent to American families." It sounds simple, it sounds patriotic, and it sounds like a new kind of stimulus without calling it a stimulus. According to early drafts, the refund could be structured in different ways. One option is a flat payment per household. Another option is a per-person payment, similar to stimulus checks during the pandemic. Some proposals even suggest targeting middle-class and lower-income households only. There are also discussions about linking the refund to tax filings, meaning you would claim it when you file your taxes, or the IRS could send it automatically like stimulus checks. But nothing is finalized. This is still a proposal, and Congress would have to approve major parts of it. Now, listen carefully, because this is where things get interesting. Some Trump advisors are calling this a tariff freedom dividend. They argue that America should benefit directly from global trade taxes. They claim it could help offset inflation and give families extra cash. Others inside the Republican Party are skeptical. They worry tariffs could slow the economy and spark retaliation from other countries. And some economists warn this could increase inflation, not reduce it. So we are looking at a massive economic experiment if this plan moves forward. And before you think this is just political talk, remember this. Trump already used tariffs aggressively in his first term. This time, the scale being discussed is much bigger. Internal estimates from conservative think tanks suggest tariffs could generate over $500 billion over several years. If even a portion of that is returned, checks like $2,000 become mathematically possible. But here's the catch. Returning that money means less revenue for the federal budget. That could affect programs, deficits, and future taxes. So this is not just a simple check in the mail. This is a major shift in how the government raises and spends money. And the political fight over this is already starting behind closed doors. Some Democrats are calling the idea a disguised stimulus that could spike inflation. Some Republicans are calling it a pro-worker policy that puts America first. Now, what does all of this mean for you personally? Because this is where it stops being political and starts affecting your wallet. Now, let's talk about how this could affect you directly, because this is where the story becomes personal and the consequences become real. Everyone is asking the same question. Am I getting a $2,000 check? The short answer is maybe. The long answer is complicated. Under the early ideas being discussed, the tariff refund checks would likely go to American households, not just individuals. That means one household could receive a flat amount, while another could receive more depending on how Congress designs the program. Some drafts suggest a per household payment. Others suggest a per-person payment, similar to pandemic stimulus checks. And some proposals talk about income limits, meaning high earners might not get anything. So a retired couple could get $2,000. A family of 4 could get more. A single filer could get less. But again, nothing is locked in. Many seniors are worried about how this could affect their benefits. Here's what we know. Tariff refund checks would likely be classified as government payments. If structured like stimulus checks, they may not count as taxable income for Social Security purposes. But if structured differently, they could affect taxes. Some policy drafts suggest treating the refund as a tax credit. Others suggest a direct Treasury payment. Each option has different consequences. If it's a tax credit, you might see it when you file your taxes. If it's a direct payment, it could arrive like a stimulus check. But here's something important. Even if the check does not reduce Social Security benefits, rising prices could, because tariffs can increase inflation. If imported goods get more expensive, companies often raise prices. That means your groceries, clothes, electronics, and cars could cost more, so a $2,000 check could be partially eaten up by higher prices. This is why some economists are warning that the refund could feel like a temporary boost, but the cost of living could rise permanently. If you are working, paying rent or a mortgage, raising kids, and dealing with high prices, a $2,000 check sounds huge. It could help with bills, debt, or savings. But employers could also face higher costs for imported materials. That could affect hiring, wages, and even layoffs in some industries. So this policy could help some workers and hurt others depending on where they work. If you receive SSI, SSDI, or other disability benefits, you might be worried about income limits. The good news is that stimulus-style payments in the past did not count as income for these programs. But Congress would have to specify the rules again. If they don't, it could create confusion and fear. Now, listen carefully to this part because it's critical. Scammers are already watching headlines like this. The moment people hear about new checks, fake websites, fake texts, and fake calls appear. They will ask for your Social Security number, your bank details, or a fee to release your check. Do not fall for it. The government will never ask you to pay to receive a refund. Some proposals suggest the refund could be taxable. Others suggest it would be tax-free. If it's taxable, you might owe some of it back in taxes depending on your income. Now, here's something most people are not talking about. If tariffs bring in massive revenue and the government sends refunds, Congress might adjust tax rates, deductions, or spending elsewhere. That could affect Medicare, Social Security funding, or other programs. So this is not just about one check. This is about a shift in how the government funds itself. Now, what about timing? If Trump pushes this plan, it would require legislation or executive action. That means debates, votes, legal challenges, and delays. Some insiders suggest a pilot program could be discussed as early as the first year of a new administration. Others say it could take years, so do not expect checks tomorrow. This is a long-term policy battle. Now here's the shocking part. Some economists say if tariffs are too aggressive, other countries could retaliate. That could hurt American exports, farmers, and manufacturers. So while some people get a refund check, others could lose jobs or income. This is why the plan is so controversial. Now you might be wondering, is this real or just political messaging? It's both. The tariff plan itself is real and widely discussed. The refund checks are a proposal being floated by advisors and think tanks. It's not guaranteed, but it's being seriously debated. And the reason you're hearing about $2,000 is because it's a powerful political number. It grabs attention. It feels meaningful. Now, before you get too excited, remember this. Even if checks happen, they could be delayed, reduced, targeted, or cancelled by Congress. Politics changes everything. This tariff refund idea is still in the proposal stage. It is being discussed by policy advisors, economists, and political strategists. For it to become real, several big steps must happen. First, a formal tariff policy would need to be announced. That could come through executive action or legislation. Then, Congress would have to debate whether any tariff revenue should be refunded to Americans, and that is where the political battle begins. Some lawmakers will argue that the money should reduce the national debt. Others will argue it should fund Social Security, Medicare, or infrastructure. And others will push hard for direct checks to households. This could turn into one of the biggest economic debates of the decade. Now, timing matters. If a new administration pushes this plan early, you could hear official proposals within the first 100 days. Committee hearings could happen within months. And if Congress moves fast, a pilot program could be discussed within the first year. But listen carefully. Government programs move slowly. Court challenges, political fights, and budget negotiations can delay everything. So do not expect a check in the mail tomorrow. This is a long-term policy shift, not an instant payout. Now here is something very important for you. Do not plan your finances around this money. Do not take loans expecting this check. Do not fall for anyone promising early access. Until it is passed into law and announced by the Treasury or IRS, it is not guaranteed. But here's why this still matters. This idea shows a major shift in how politicians are thinking about trade, taxes, and direct payments to citizens. It shows that future governments may experiment with new ways to send money directly to Americans. And even if this specific plan changes, the concept of government payments tied to trade revenue could come back again and again. Now, let's talk about what you should do. First, stay informed. Follow official government sources, not social media rumors. Second, protect your personal information. Never share your social security number or bank details with anyone claiming to unlock your refund. Third, plan your budget conservatively. If money comes, treat it as a bonus, not guaranteed income. And here is the reassurance. No matter what happens, Social Security is still paid monthly. Your retirement benefits are still protected by law. Congress cannot simply erase them overnight. Change in Washington is slow, messy, and debated. You will have time to prepare. So yes, the idea of $2,000 tariff refund checks is bold, it is controversial, and it could reshape how Americans think about government payments. But nothing is official yet. I will keep watching this story closely. The moment real legislation, real dates, or real eligibility rules are announced, you will hear it here first. So make sure you are subscribed, turn on notifications, and stay informed. Your money matters, your future matters. And together, we'll break down every major update in simple, clear language. Stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next update.